right? So she brings me in, she takes me straight to the living room. And the living room is darkly lit, it's dim. And then what was weird about it is every piece of furniture was covered in sheets. So I look around, I have like a little mini freak out because I think I just watched this movie called American Psycho. And when he used to bring people into his house to kill him, he used to cover all this furniture. So I'm like, yo, what's about to happen?
Sharay Hayes, known in the entertainment world as Punisher, recently came forward with a testimony that has taken the Diddy case to a whole new level. His experience gave the public a first-hand look at what he says really happened at the freak-offs between himself, Cassie, and Diddy. What he revealed during his interview wasn't just surprising, it raised deeper questions about power, privacy, and influence in the world of celebrities. It all began in 2012. At the time, Hayes was a well-known performer who had been working in the industry for years. His career started with male dancing, performing at private parties and events, and he eventually built a reputation that had clients reaching out to him regularly for personalized shows. He wasn't new to strange requests, but nothing prepared him for the night he got a call from a woman named Janet. Janet said it was her birthday. She told him that her husband had allowed her to hire an entertainer to help celebrate.
She introduces herself as Janet.
Janet?
Yep, it's okay. Janet, and she says it's her birthday. She said, it's my birthday, and my husband told me that I can have an entertainer, and I'm celebrating with some friends. So we want you to come through and do a dance for me and my friends. So I'm expecting a small gathering of women to do a show. And so we scheduled it, we picked the time. They told me the Trump Hotel. And the time originally was like midnight, then it got pushed to 1, then it got pushed to 2, and I think eventually we scheduled on like 2:45 a.m.
Everything seemed normal. Just another luxury hotel booking and another gig. The location, the Trump Hotel in New York. The time, around 2:45 a.m. The payment, $200 for a private dance. Everything seemed straightforward. But when Hayes showed up, what happened next caught him completely off guard. He expected a room full of people, maybe a group of women celebrating a birthday. Instead, he was greeted by one woman dressed in a robe who opened the door with a smile. Hayes immediately noticed how beautiful she was. At the time, he didn't recognize her. Her look was different. She had a wig on, and her style didn't match the signature appearance he would later connect with Cassie Ventura. He walked into the room, only to realize things weren't what he expected. The room was dimly lit, and every piece of furniture was covered in white sheets. It felt eerie, like a movie set, and for a moment, Hayes felt uneasy. But then came the instructions. The woman who called herself Janet told him there was no need to perform a typical dance. Instead, she explained that she and her husband liked to create what she called a romantic visual. Hayes was instructed to change into a towel and help set the atmosphere.
So the baby oil, ironically, by the couches there were like bowls, and the bowls were filled with warm water, and there were just big bottles of baby oil just placed in the bowl. So okay. I want to say it was 2 to 3 bottles of baby oil, but the big ones, the thirst busters.
Okay. All right, so you start putting the baby oil on at this point?
Yeah, so I go in the bathroom, change to the towel. I come out, she's in the robe, so she takes her robe off. I'm in my towel, and we're both first individually oiling each other. And then it leaves, I'm oiling myself, she's oiling herself, then we start oiling each other. And then there's some sort of like masturbation, like I'm masturbating, she's masturbating, we're creating a sexual environment. And at some point, shortly after that started,
there were bowls filled with warm water, large bottles of baby oil placed inside them, and candles around the room. She asked Hayes to apply oil on himself, and she would do the same. Then they began to apply it to each other. Hayes said there was a certain atmosphere being created, calm, private, and clearly guided by someone with a specific vision in mind. That's when her husband entered the room. The man walked in quietly, without saying a word. He was wearing what looked like a face covering that only revealed his eyes. Hayes had been told in advance not to acknowledge him, don't look, don't speak, just continue with the routine. It was part of the arrangement. Hayes continued what he was doing while carefully observing from the side of his vision. The man who didn't say much began directing the scene in subtle ways. He would move around the room, sometimes giving small instructions, adjust the lighting, change position slightly, turn the body this way or that, but never did he speak directly to Hayes. The scene continued for about 20 to 25 minutes. Eventually, the man left the room. Shortly after, the woman followed. When she returned, she told Hayes it had been perfect. Then she asked if he wanted to finish, implying if he needed anything further. Hayes declined. He kept it professional, saying he was just happy to provide what they needed. In return, he was paid $1,200 more on top of the $800 he received earlier, $2,000 in total, for what he described as a highly unusual but controlled session. The twist came later when Hayes realized who Janet really was.
Yes. So he walks into the room. Now, one part that I left out is part of the instructions initially was in creating these scenes. When her husband came in, we were not supposed to acknowledge him at all. I was supposed to act like he's not there. Don't look at him. Don't talk to him. Try my best to just make believe he's not in the room. So even when he walks in, I have to look at him from my peripherals, but I'm gonna look, right? Because I never been in a situation. It's kind of odd.
He didn't recognize her at first. Her appearance was different, and she never gave away her true identity. But as Hayes pieced things together, especially after seeing her face more clearly in hindsight, he realized that the woman in that room was Cassie Ventura, and the man watching, based on everything he observed, was none other than Sean Diddy Combs. For Hayes, the realization was shocking. He had unknowingly been a part of something involving two major figures in the entertainment industry. And while the experience was strange, what made it important in the larger conversation was how it tied into what Cassie would later reveal in her own legal claims. Cassie filed a lawsuit against Diddy, making several serious allegations. Her legal team described a long-term pattern of behavior that involved control, manipulation, and exploitation. One of the details in her claims pointed to situations where others were brought in to create scenes or scenarios while Diddy observed. Hayes' story now becomes a real-world confirmation of those claims. He gave the public a direct account of what that looked like, from the moment he was hired to the exact instructions he was given and how the environment was set up. He never claimed that anything illegal happened that night. In fact, he said the experience was consensual and professional. But what it revealed was something deeper, the way power dynamics played out behind closed doors, especially when wealth and celebrity status are involved. This wasn't just a dance. It was an orchestrated experience, one that felt more like performance art with an audience of one. The public reaction to Hayes' testimony has been intense. Some people are questioning how many others might have been involved in similar experiences without realizing the full context. Others are seeing his story as just one more piece in a much larger puzzle about celebrity influence and private behavior. What Hayes described is something most people never get to witness. And while he didn't speak out for attention, his decision to go public helped shape the broader conversation about responsibility and consent, especially in relationships where one person holds so much control. It's worth remembering that every part of Hayes' story was told from his point of view. He maintained that he never intended to cross boundaries and always kept professionalism in mind. His involvement was limited to what he was paid to do, and he made clear that he stepped away when things felt too personal. Still, his account is now a critical piece of the ongoing investigation and public dialogue surrounding Diddy and Cassie. The fact that he came forward at all shows just how deep the situation runs and how much more may still be hidden. As the case continues, More voices may step forward and more details could emerge. But Hayes' story is already being seen as a turning point, one that offers a rare inside look at a world built on silence, secrets, and status. If you found this story informative, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future updates. And drop a comment below. What do you think about Hayes' experience and how it connects to the bigger picture? We're just getting started.